Hello, beautiful Libra soul. Do you ever feel like something life-altering is approaching but you can't quite name it yet? Do you feel a quiet stirring in your spirit, like a soft knock on the door of your destiny? If so, this message was meant for you. Because the truth is, when this man appears, your life will shift completely. You didn't land here by accident. Nothing about this moment is random. This is what I call a sacred appointment, your soul's rendezvous with a message it's been waiting for, maybe even praying for. Starting November 19th, the universe began aligning something powerful for you. With Venus, your ruling planet, making a harmonious trine with the moon, a deep portal of love and destiny has opened. The moment is now. What's arriving is not just a man. This is a soul-aligned connection coded into your energy field long before this lifetime. He's not coming to complete you. You are already whole. But he will activate the version of you that's been hidden beneath the layers of self-protection. He will mirror back your brilliance in a way you've never dared to see. The tarot confirms it. The Lovers has appeared not as a symbol of romantic fantasy, but as a soul contract long foretold. The Tower, reversed, tells us that this won't be a collapse but a sacred unlayering. Not destruction, but divine reconstruction. And the Knight of Cups. Yes, he is on his way with a message of love written by Spirit itself. You may have already sensed him. A sudden dream. Repeating numbers. A stranger's gaze that feels strangely familiar. This is your intuition trying to prepare you for what's unfolding. And when he arrives, everything will shift. How you love, how you live, how you carry yourself in the world. Because this connection isn't meant to comfort the old you. It's meant to awaken the you that's been waiting to rise. Now, before we dive deeper into what this means for your journey, let me take a heartfelt moment to thank you, yes, you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription. Your presence is more than support. It's alignment. It tells the universe, I'm ready. And your energy helps this channel Zodiac Whisper Tarot continue to grow and deliver these transformational messages to the souls who need them most. So please, if this resonates with even a small part of you, comment below with the number 777 to affirm that you're ready to receive what's already making its way to you. That simple action sets a sacred code that you're open to divine timing and alignment. Libra, my dear. Stay with me until the very end of this reading. Because what the universe is revealing today is not just beautiful, it's prophetic. And I promise you, you will not want to miss a single word. Now take a deep breath, drop into your heart, and let yourself remember what your soul already knows. Let's begin. It doesn't always begin with fireworks or sweeping declarations. Sometimes, it begins with a look. A stillness. A sudden pause in your internal rhythm, as if the air between you and another person shifts. This moment, this sacred moment, isn't marked by perfection, but by recognition. What's arriving in your life, dear Libra, is not a savior, and certainly not someone sent to complete you. You are not half of a whole. You are a full, radiant soul who has done the inner work. What you're being prepared for is a reflection and energetic mirror of your deepest light, the part of you that's been waiting silently beneath layers of self-protection, ready to be seen again. When he looks at you, something ancient awakens. Not because you need his approval, not because you're starved for affection, but because the light he reflects back to you is a light you forgot you carried. In his presence, you begin to soften not out of weakness, but out of safety. You speak without calculation. You don't manage your expression or edit your truth. This kind of connection isn't loud. It's not performative. It doesn't demand proof. It simply is. What you're being invited into is not a fantasy. It's a recalibration. A return to emotional honesty. And what a beautiful, liberating thing it is to love without the need to defend or disguise who you truly are. The relationship approaching is built not on romantic illusion, but on mutual presence. He won't save you from your darkness, but he will sit with you through it. He won't interrupt your strength, but he'll remind you it's okay to rest. And most powerfully, he'll ask nothing more of you than your authenticity. This type of man may not fit the mold of your past desires. He may not match the checklist you once believed was required. But you'll recognize him nonetheless, because your soul has met his before. And when that moment comes, it won't be your mind that knows it will be your energy. A subtle but undeniable shift, like hearing your name whispered in a crowded room. Sometimes the most divine arrivals are disguised in the ordinary. You may meet him on a day when you aren't trying to be seen. Perhaps you're tired. Perhaps your walls are lower. And maybe, that's exactly the point. The universe, in its quiet intelligence, sends love when you're no longer trying to perform for it. Love doesn't arrive when you are polished, it arrives when you are real. There's something sacred in knowing that you don't need to be saved, only witnessed. And the presence of this man will remind you of that. You are not here to shrink into someone else's expectations. You are here to rise into your truth, and this connection, when handled with openness and grace, will help you do exactly that. For those of you who believe in quiet interventions, perhaps this is one. Not every miracle announces itself with thunder. Some arrive gently, like a breath you didn't realize you were holding. And while this isn't a spiritual lesson framed by scripture, there's a simple truth we can carry from faith into this moment. When love is real, it doesn't force itself in. It knocks gently and waits for you to open the door. If something inside you stirs as you hear this, don't ignore it. That stirring is your intuition. That warmth is your readiness. And when you meet this man, you won't need to explain what you feel. You'll simply know. Now, take a moment and share in the comments if you've ever felt that sense of quiet recognition, the moment you felt truly seen without saying a word. I promise you, you're not alone. This is a conversation your soul has already started. Sometimes, the universe doesn't need a grand event to shift your entire path. It simply needs one conversation, one encounter, one moment you didn't plan for. For Libras, especially during this rare cosmic window beginning November 19th, the opportunities for such moments are multiplying. But the meeting we're speaking about here isn't the product of randomness. It's orchestrated movement, gentle but deliberate guidance from the forces that have been shaping your emotional readiness for years. This phase marks a significant alignment, especially as Venus, your ruling planet, harmonizes with lunar frequencies that govern our emotional body. That means what you feel now is deeper than normal mood swings. You're intuitively sensing someone's energy entering your field before your eyes ever meet. And depending on when in Libra season you were born, the gateway to this meeting may take on a different form. If your birthday falls between September 23rd and October 2nd, Don't be surprised if the moment comes while you're in motion traveling for work, attending a social or professional event you almost skipped. It might be one brief encounter that alters the trajectory of your inner world. There's a reason the invitations that feel unimportant sometimes become the most meaningful chapters of our story. For Libras born between October 3rd and October 12th, this arrival may come through someone from your past. Not in a recycled way but as a revelation. Someone who passed through your orbit once before, now returned with new eyes, clearer energy, and a heart that finally speaks the same language as yours. The lesson here is not to assume the past repeats itself, it often evolves. And sometimes the person becomes who they were always meant to be, right at the moment you're finally ready to recognize it. And for those of you born between October 13th and October 22nd, this connection may present itself at a time when you've let go of love altogether. Not out of bitterness, but surrender. There's power in that surrender. When you no longer grasp or chase, the universe brings you what truly belongs. This is the essence of divine timing. It moves not by your deadlines, but by your readiness. Of course, the signs are already around you if you're paying attention. Have you been seeing repeating numbers like 1111 or 2222 more often? Have you found yourself randomly hearing old songs that speak directly to the ache in your heart? Do you wake up from dreams feeling like someone was there, someone you couldn't see, but somehow knew? These are not coincidences. They are energetic messages, soft nudges from your intuitive self, helping you prepare for what's to come. Keeping a journal right now isn't just reflective, it's strategic. Writing down your dreams, your emotional patterns, your passing thoughts, this is how you trace the breadcrumbs spirit leaves behind. Every word you write is an anchor point for the frequency you're moving toward. You don't need to understand everything right now. You simply need to stay open. What matters most in this season is not control but awareness. You're not asked to force the meeting, to chase it down, or even to know the exact how. Your only task is to remain present enough to notice it when it arrives. In the same way that grace often shows up quietly in our lives, so too will this connection. And while it may not be obvious to the logical mind, your inner world will recognize him immediately. If you've already begun to sense this shift, share it in the comments. You acknowledging it aloud may just be the confirmation another Libra needs to recognize their own signs. You are not imagining this, something extraordinary is moving in your direction. It may surprise you, but sometimes the most transformational moments in life arrive not wrapped in comfort, but in disruption. Not because the universe wants to challenge you unnecessarily, but because certain connections are designed to rearrange you from the inside out. And Libra, what you're approaching now is not just a romantic meeting, it is a mirror that will reflect every part of you, especially the ones you've carefully hidden under layers of strength, independence, and control. After sensing the energy of this destined man on the horizon, your initial reaction might not be pure excitement. In fact, it might be resistance. You may feel the instinct to turn away, to rationalize it, to pull back and retreat into what's familiar. And that's entirely human. When something or someone arrives that touches us at the core, it disrupts the rhythm we've come to call safe, even if that rhythm has quietly been keeping us small. What makes this connection powerful is not its perfection, but its ability to reveal. His presence won't just make you feel seen, it will make you feel exposed, and not in a threatening way, but in a deeply intimate, honest one. You might find yourself speaking truths you didn't realize you were ready to share. You may feel your voice shake, not from fear of him, but from the crumbling of the story you've told yourself about needing to always be in control. Many Libras carry the weight of holding peace for others, often at the cost of their own emotional transparency. But peace without truth is not peace, it's performance. This is your opportunity to unlearn the idea that love has to be neat, calculated, or on your terms. This time, love will be wild in its honesty. And while that may feel terrifying, it's also the very thing that can liberate you. Faith, in this context, is not about blindly leaping. It's about softening enough to allow something meaningful to take shape without micromanaging it into predictability. The idea that love should feel safe is often misunderstood. True love, especially one rooted in soul recognition, rarely feels safe in the way our ego defines it. It feels raw, expansive, and yes, vulnerable. But that vulnerability is the soil where real connection takes root. There may be a voice inside you whispering, "This can't be real," or, "I'll lose myself if I go deeper." But those voices come from fear born in past versions of you, not in the version of you that has already done so much healing. And here's the truth: the universe is not testing you to make you fail. It's simply offering you a chance to choose consciously, courageously. Because love that changes your life isn't given, it's received. You have to say yes to it, even if your voice trembles when you do. There's also wisdom in slowing down when emotions run high, but don't mistake the desire to pause for a sign to run. If you find yourself stepping back out of fear, try asking gently, "Am I protecting myself? Or avoiding growth?" There's a quiet strength in knowing the difference. And if you need comfort in the unknown, remember this: even the strongest people need safe places to fall apart sometimes. This connection may not be one you can predict, define, or control, but it may be the one that lets you finally breathe. So if your heart has been stirred lately, if you felt both pulled towards something new and terrified by the very idea of it, take that as confirmation. It means your soul is waking up. And when that moment comes, when your defenses want to rise but something softer inside you asks to stay, listen to the softness. That's where your truth lives. It's fascinating how transformation rarely happens in isolation. When your soul begins to shift, your body and emotions often respond long before your conscious mind catches up. As you begin moving into a higher frequency of love and alignment, you may notice that your physical body is no longer willing to carry the tension it once tolerated. The muscles you've clenched for years, the tightness in your chest you ignored, even the sudden waves of fatigue, these are not random. They are part of a multidimensional recalibration taking place within you. For many Libras going through this energetic gateway, the body becomes the first communicator. You might feel unexpected stiffness in your neck or shoulders, subtle heart flutters that come and go, or a restlessness in your breath that no amount of distraction can fix. This isn't something to fear. It's your nervous system beginning to release years of silent holding. You've carried the weight of emotional diplomacy for so long, managing harmony in relationships, often at your own expense, that your body now asks for softness. For presence. For space to feel. This is why simple rituals become powerful medicine during times like these. Drinking calming herbal tea, taking slow magnesium-rich baths, or practicing deep diaphragmatic breathing 3 times a day, if you can, are not just wellness trends. They're energetic declarations. I am willing to let go. I am safe enough now to receive. But the shifts won't end with the body. Emotionally, you may begin to cry over things that never touched you before. A commercial. A kind word. A song from your childhood. These aren't breakdowns, theory breakthroughs. The tears are messengers from old griefs that were never allowed to move. Now, as your energy opens and softens, those emotions finally have permission to flow out, clearing space for something far more authentic to enter. It's also possible that during this time you'll feel a creative pulse reawaken almost out of nowhere. You may suddenly feel the urge to write, to paint, to dance, or to explore a new path that has nothing to do with your current job or identity. Don't ignore this. It's not fantasy. It's frequency. As your energetic vibration rises, your soul begins nudging you toward the work that actually aligns with who you are becoming. This isn't about abandoning logic. It's about finally honoring your deeper knowing, the part of you that has been whispering all along. And during this window of growth, certain colors may begin to call to you in new ways. Rose quartz pink for heart healing. Indigo blue for speaking your truth. Silvery white for clarity and expanded perception. Wearing these colors, especially during prayer, journaling, or important conversations, can support your body in anchoring what your soul is integrating. These aren't superstitions, theory reminders. Physical reflections of unseen shifts. In the midst of this change, it's essential to return to what anchors you. For some, that may be scripture. For others, quiet reflection or moments of service to others. No matter what your path looks like, try beginning the day with a simple question. What can I release today so something truer can take its place? You don't need loud signs or dramatic messages. Sometimes, the most divine movement begins in stillness. If you're experiencing this three-dimensional shedding, physical tension, emotional waves, or soul-level stirrings, know that you're not alone. This is what it means to be in alignment. To be seen, softened, and stretched by love that's on its way. Trust it. Let it flow through you. And don't be afraid if who you are begins to dissolve. That's exactly what's supposed to happen when you're becoming someone new. Sometimes the smallest gestures carry the greatest spiritual weight. A letter written and never sent. A sentence whispered in morning stillness. A decision to finally let go of what wants to find you. Libra, as you stand at the edge of this extraordinary energetic threshold, you are not being asked to chase or prove. You are being asked to clear space. To release. To make room for what has already begun making its way toward you. It's tempting to believe that transformation only happens in moments of intense effort or breakthrough. But the truth is, some of the most powerful turning points begin in quiet rituals, the kind you create not for the world to see, but for your own soul to breathe again. Writing a letter to someone who hurt you, even if you never mail it, gives your heart a language to speak the pain it's been holding. And when you burn that letter under a white candle, it's not about erasing the past. It's about finally ending the spiritual contract you didn't even realize was still open. These small rituals, writing, burning, praying, breathing, are how we give form to release. And when done with intention, they shift your energy field in ways that no logic can predict. They tell the universe, I am ready now, not just to attract love, but to sustain it. Because that's what this phase is about, Libra. Not waiting. Not wondering. But becoming. Becoming the version of you that is ready to be fully seen and loved without condition. That's why the morning prayer suggested here is so powerful. It doesn't beg for someone to come complete you. Instead, it calls in discernment, clarity, and courage, 3 things every Libra needs when facing a love that shakes your foundations. This kind of love doesn't slot neatly into the timeline you planned or the checklist you created. It arrives with divine timing and asks, "Will you recognize me now?" Your dreams during this time may become more vivid. Don't dismiss them. They may carry fragments of memories, feelings, or symbols that help you understand what your conscious mind hasn't yet caught up to. Keep a notebook near your bed. When you wake up, write freely. Even one sentence can become a seed that blooms later. Speaking of seeds, affirmations are powerful forms of planting. When you write or speak a statement like, "I am ready to be seen fully and loved completely," you're not just making a wish. You are aligning your nervous system, your subconscious, and your emotional body to the frequency of what you say you desire. If you speak it with presence and consistency, your outer world will begin to reflect it back to you. In the fast pace of life, we often overlook the beauty of intentional, sacred simplicity. But in the same way God often works through whispers, not thunder, your healing does not need to be loud to be holy. Whether you view it as a spiritual process or simply an energetic reset, this is your invitation to come home to yourself, gently. You don't need to move mountains today. Just one decision. One prayer. One page. One breath. And if your heart is stirring as you read this, then you're already in motion. Comment below with the words, "I am ready for soul-aligned love," not just for yourself but so others reading may find the courage to affirm it too. When you plant that declaration, you send a signal into the collective field, love is welcome here. And Libra, it's already on its way. And so, dear Libra, as we reach the end of this sacred message, I want to remind you of something essential. Miracles don't choose us, we choose them. Love doesn't knock only when we are ready in the way we think. It comes when our soul has quietly made the decision to stop hiding, to stop negotiating with fear, and to start welcoming something greater than what we've known. The man who is coming into your life is not here to complete you, nor to fit a mold. He is here to reflect the part of you that's already whole but waiting to be seen again. This is not about perfection. It never was. You may not recognize him with your mind. But something far deeper, your intuition, your energy, your higher self will whisper to you, softly but certainly, it's time. And that whisper will feel like the echo of a promise you made long before this version of you was formed. The path ahead is not linear, and it may not be easy. But it will be real. And real love, soul-aligned love, is never sterile or predictable. It's alive. It requires you to step forward without the full plan, to trust what you feel more than what you've been taught to fear. So I ask you now, are you willing to step outside your comfort zone for a connection that was never meant to be ordinary? Are you willing to be seen fully and to love without the safety net of control? If this message has stirred something in you, if you feel even the faintest pull toward the possibility of this kind of love, then your soul is already in motion. The work now is simple but sacred. Continue the practices we shared. Reflect. Release. Affirm. And most importantly, show up for yourself daily as the person you want to be met by. Let this be your invitation to take ownership of your healing, your energy, your story. You don't have to wait for the stars to align. They already are. But what they need most is your willingness to say yes. And if you're still here with me at this point in the video, thank you. Truly. Your presence is not just seen, it's felt. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps keep this sacred space of truth and transformation alive. Your energy is what makes this channel Zodiac Whisper Tarot a living, breathing sanctuary for those ready to step into their next chapter with faith and courage. So before you go, I encourage you to share in the comments, what part of today's message spoke to your soul the loudest? And if you're ready to claim this love out loud, with intention right, I choose to be seen. I choose to receive. You never know who might read your words and feel brave enough to say yes to their own destiny too. You've come so far. And what's waiting for you? It's not just love. It's expansion. It's healing. It's the next evolution of your truth. He's coming. And you? You're already blooming. Stay open, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next message.